Are there any questions before I start introductions? Well, then, I would like to thank you all for joining me for my inaugural Blades in the Dark game. I've never ran this before, so go a little easy on me. It is a learning curve, but I don't think it's a very rules-heavy system. My name is Elijah. You can call me Eli, he, him, his. Otherwise, Sloth, Comfortable Gray, Game Master, Marshall. Anything to make sure that I'm listening, I promise I'll give you my full attention. I have a couple of house rules I use in all my games. Those are my zeroth rules. First of all, the golden rule. Be kind to one another. Treat others as you want to be treated. Second of all, the red rule. It's not going to come up in Blades in the Dark, but if there was some supernatural effect, it couldn't force anybody's character to do something that would make the players uncomfortable. Third, the rule of cool. If the rules don't really support something you want to do, but seems plausible, we can explore the options. Additionally, I would like to introduce some lines and veils because Blades in the Dark is a very gritty scenario. I want to say, as far as lines, things that do not exist in any of my universes is sexual assault. It's not a possibility. Don't even bring it up. This is the last time it should be mentioned. Additionally, as far as veils, torture and sexual encounters can occur, but they should be behind a veil. And so if you seduce somebody on screen, we can just say that happens, and it goes behind the veil to happen behind the screen. All good so far?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense.
Can I add one?
Yes, I was about to say, does anybody want to introduce any additional lines or veils?
I'd like to have at least a heavy veil in front of child abuse. I mean, it can happen, but it has to be off screen and not.
I think Sneeze would agree with you, so let's just say that there is no abuse of children on screen. That's a veil.
Fair. Yep.
And with that, I'm just going to go down alphabetically. I'll ask you to introduce yourself as a player. Maybe tell us a little bit about your experience in role-playing, what you feel like you bring to the table as a role player, and maybe tell us which of the 3 pillars you enjoy most of all. That's combat, exploration, and the social pillars. Starting with Chris, FSPN 2000.
My name's Chris. I'm FSPN 2000 on Discord. I started playing role-playing games in middle school back in the 80s with the purple box of basic D&D. I played a little bit of everything since then. Played Pathfinder, Starfinder, GURPS, Shadowrun, various incarnations of the Star Wars games. And that's kind of how I found this game. I'm in Gray Sloth's free Star Wars game that he's been running.
So yeah, Chris has been a great asset to the table, not just as a player, but he has been very kind in providing art assets to people. Next up is a new player to my table, the Green Baron.
Hello, I'm Pau. You can call me Pau.
Okay.
And I play D&D. I play the Dark Heresy, which is Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy and some other RPGs. And that's it.
Awesome. Welcome to the table. Thanks for choosing and making your own character. That shows to me that you're invested. You're ready to have a good time tonight.
We forgot to explore the pillars.
I like everything, really. We usually have all 3 when I play with my friends.
Absolutely. I do try to have all of them in my games, but not every session is able to highlight each of them. Next up is Link's Mix.
Hi, I kind of go by Lynx, and Lynx Minx as kind of my online persona. I played some role-playing games a long time ago, but I mostly played computer video games for a long time and only just got back into role-playing games this last year, mostly with Pathfinder 2e. And then I found this group and got to play Savage Worlds, and now I'm going to try this one out. I do struggle with social anxiety, so this for me kind of fills a therapy niche in my life of kind of getting me out of my comfort zone, but with something I do like to do. So as far as the pillars, I'm most comfortable in like the crunchy math of combat. But I do just like the narrative and storytelling aspects of games like this.
I can say growing up with D&D helped me a huge amount with my social anxiety. I was like super stage fright, stuttering to death kid through like elementary school, middle school, and then just getting into it. I started to like role play in real life as somebody who was like super hyper social competent, and that helped me break through and become a more extroverted person.
Yeah, there's a lot of actual role playing being used for therapy these days.
Next up is the Great Hoopla.
Yeah. So I'm the Great Hoopla. It's my, as Link said, the screen name. You can call me Mark. I have been playing mostly D&D for about 6 years. In the last year or so, I've dipped my toe into Pathfinder 2e, Star Wars, Kids on Bikes, and this will be my first time with Blades in the Dark. And I love the roleplay aspect of TTRPGs. My math skills are not great, so bear with. But I love to come up with characters and play around and interact. So I think the social / roleplay aspect is, if I had to pick a pillar, probably one of my favorites.
And he has also joined me this year in a short-lived Pathfinder 2e Shackles campaign, like very seafaring in a certain way. Mark has been a wonderful person to have at the table. Going up next, it looks like maybe Andrew.
Oh, okay. So my name is Andrew, also Sneeze. I'm playing the Goose, Bruce Chusman. My favorite of the pillars. I'm probably going to give a different answer than the last time you've asked me this question, but for this type of game, story is my favorite because it has direct mechanical impacts on the game. It's one of the reasons I love Blades in the Dark so much. So that's a short answer, but that's it.
I would just like everybody to make a little bit of an action roll. So this game, the core mechanic is you're either going to be rolling your attributes, which is prowess, insight, or resolve, or one of the action ratings, the 4 action ratings under each of them. I just want to have as a footnote that if you are making one of those rolls and it's of a certain difficulty, that's one way that you mark experience for the specific attribute. So we're going to mention it right there. So I'm going to take it opposite direction and maybe say something about what your character might do in Crow's Foot. We know that everybody is a part of the cult of the Strix. I think, are people okay if we just call it the flock?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, sure.
I'm good with that.
I think it's a good name. So I'd like to kind of uncover what your roles are within the flock. I made that crew behind the scenes just so that we can get into the action a little bit faster, which is one of the principles of Blades of the Dark. It's action first, planning second. So when it comes to us actually getting through the score, we're just going to say how you guys approach it. We're going to say we're going to make one engagement roll, and then you're in it. You're in the heat already. And then as things progress, if there's anything where we're like, well, like, did you do this? There's a flashback mechanic. And so we can just like screen fizzles, we go back to the past, but the flashbacks cannot undo anything. Flashbacks are a reaction to something your character may have planned in the past. So it doesn't undo it, it just prepares for it. And so what is Kestrel's role in the flock?
So Kestrel is the cutter. He's the muscle. He is basically, if you need to intimidate someone, if you need to get someone out of a spot to make way for things, Kestrel is that guy. He may not be the best one for the job, but he does get the job done. Mainly because a lot of people underestimate him, given his small stature and his weight. They don't really think that he can do much, but backed into a corner, Kestrel is an absolute savage.
And so maybe we'll make this about your character clearing out the Irie. So I'm going to change scenes real fast.
Yep. Ooh, music.
And this is your hideout. You do have a small retinue of cultists that work under you guys. So you do have some allies. That's just something I chose for you. In addition to the crew benefit where you guys all get to add that one extra action rating dot around. And in downtime, if you spent one of your downtime actions training one of your resolve skills, it would give you 2 experience instead of 1 experience. I'll expand on that at the end of the game when we get to downtime. So it sounds like Kestrel maybe helped secure this place. Why don't you make an appropriate roll? So the way it works is that this is a conversation. Tell me what the Kestrel would do to help clear this place out.
So Kestrel is Kestrel I think came in under the guise of maybe he wanted to buy the place. So he got if this fits. But I like the idea that he went in, like this place was maybe abandoned, and he came up with a real estate agent, and he, the real estate person like showed him around, showed him everything, and Kestrel kind of got him into a corner and said, "Okay, so how do you like free for a price?" And he just starts, and as the real estate agent turned around, he sees Kestrel has pulled out a pair of these knuckle dusters, and the knuckle dusters are like emblazoned with the insignia of the cult, and maybe there's a bit more of a conversation where he's like, I work for a certain organization that likes to help the cause here in the Duskfold, in the dusk, and would you consider this fine establishment as a donation towards this religious encouragement, this religious endeavor? And he cracks his knuckles as he says this.
Love it. Love the accent. Love the voice of the character. What action rating do you feel like you're using in this case? I do not get to choose the action rating. But
okay.
You decide what you're using for it, and I could kind of tell you that seems like it's somewhat down the right route. But if I can we can talk about negotiate it. See, because if you were saying you were going to use command for this, which is what it sounds like to me instinctually, then that's the straight shooting. But if you were trying to use something else like wreck, if you punched a wall and broke the wood a little bit, then it would have a different risk factor, a different
2
effect,
dice as opposed to the single dice.
But also the degree of effect and the degree of risk involved would vary depending on which action rating you were using.
So what if as he's walking around and he starts to also maybe punch holes and things, break windows and say, "Oh, look, all this extra work we got to do when we get in here, this is terrible." And he starts breaking other things, snapping off banisters and shit like that.
And that sounds much more like a wreck kind of action to me.
Okay. So then I click on. Do you need anything else from me, or do you need me to roll now?
So I just want to say that. So I think this is going to have a standard effect. Your position is controlled because your character definitely he's throwing his weight around. There's not a huge risk to him here because he's armed. He's got a few of his friends right behind him. But the other potential positions are risky being the most common position. It's the standard position, and desperate sometimes. So if you fail, or if, so the dice are 1 to 3, basically you fail. 4 or 5, you succeed, but there might be some cause or complication depending on the position. And then finally a 6 is always a success, just straight success. If your character has more than 1 dice to that action rating and they roll 2 6s, that's the critical success. So not only do you succeed with no complications, but you get an extra effect.
Nice. Okay. So
give me a controlled standard effect. Partial success. So you clear out a large number of these people. That's the reduced effect right there. Most of the people in the Irie have been cleared out at this point. Going up next, it looks like maybe Andrew, what is something that Goose would do to help?
I think so. This is a situation where there are people here already, and we're kind of staking our claim to this place, right?
Precisely. In Duskfall, everything is already claimed. There will not be a single situation where you are the first person there.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to try to convince some of the people here that it's in their best interest to leave this place because, it's practically condemned. It's probably not even safe to live here. And, we're really doing them a favor by coming in.
Which action do you want to use for this?
I think this is this way.
I can buy sway on that. So just going to be another controlled position, standard effect.
Controlled standard. I love to see that.
Wow.
So here I'm going to bring in a new concept called the progress clock. Can everybody see this clock to the right of the road?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's yep.
So each of them got a partial success. So each of them, they're going to put one tick into the clock. Clocks can be from 4, 6, or 8. And this can be all kinds of things. It could be your character trying to pick a lock. It could be your character fighting a difficult combatant, like in a duel. Because for the most part, you will be the only people rolling dice in this game. I will not be rolling against you. I might roll fortune or engagements on occasion from random roll tables, but almost everything is about your character's progress against the world around you. So between Goose and Kestrel, they have made progress towards clearing out the Eyrie, the future Eyrie. Next up is, let's see, she chose Shrike. What is Shrike doing to help out?
So, is this something we would have planned for? Like I would be able to use my study ability to know who these people are and how to convince them to leave?
Great question. So when it comes to gathering information, you can ask me something, and if it's something your character would just know, I'll give it to you, no roll required. But if there is some type of obstacle, then you would need to roll. So what's your question?
So, do I know anything about the people that are already here, and would be able to use that information to convince them to leave?
Straight up, they appear to be Scotland refugees, people who are escaping the war times, because recently there was a unity war that has shaken the Shattered Isles, but it ended, and the Scotlanders are basically the victims of that war. So these people are down their luck. They've probably been squatting here, so they don't have any authentic claim to it either.
That's what I am.
So these are people of your same blood.
Yeah.
However, you've got a purpose for it.
Yeah. Well, okay. With study, would I know of anywhere else they could go, or be able to make suggestion of where they could find other lodgings?
Let's put that as a study rule. I think it's, again, there's no risk for you. These things are all around Duskfall, so you can roll controlled position, standard effect.
Okay.
Another partial success. So your character, I'm not going to be too specific. You can create specifics as well. We're all creating this world together as a part of that collaborative storytelling. So if you want to choose some district, some entity who is a benefactor for the Scotlanders, that's fine. Otherwise, it would take time for me to look it up real fast. But as is, we can say that your character is aware that there are some soup kitchens, things like that, at least places where these people can go in between before they find a more authentic place to live.
Okay, that sounds good.
So I'll give you another check on this progress clock. Next up is Vulture.
First thing, I like to check the zone, as I'm a bit paranoid. More about my own security than that of the people here. But not really good at convincing anyone, so I'm just gonna try to attune to the ghost field to feel the energies of the place.
All right, so
Kind of like make a feeling of what this place is really, not on the physical level.
So I thank you for not only telling me what you're doing, but telling me which action rating you're trying to do with this. The ghost field is the general haunted ethereal plane that is layered right over all of this planet. Anybody can attune to it, to the spirits, ghosts, the ectoplasmic energy, and general spectrology. Go ahead. Because the ghost field is an unpredictable and dangerous thing, I'm going to put this as a risky position. However, if these people see you channeling it, it's going to have an enhanced effect.
Okay. So, should I roll d6, I guess? 3d.
Yeah, roll your attune and make it nice.
If you click
no,
the attune
Yeah,
button.
click it in your character sheet. You
Oh.
can actually click on the word attune, and then you can choose the position.
Oh, okay. Risky effect. You said
And-
standard?
A higher effect. I forget the word.
I think it's greater effect.
Greater effect.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, I rolled to me. Sorry.
You took some bonuses.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take
I'm
the
sorry.
first 3 dice on there, if that's okay with you. I think just one of these kinds of things,
Sure.
I could
sure.
just do that. It's still a partial success. It might be a failure because 1 through 3 is the fail.
Yep.
So your character is reaching out to the ghost field, and I'm going to put you in a desperate position. If we have to go around the progress clock again, you don't make progress, and you end up kind of in between things. You see the owl yourself. This is an ideal location for the Strix, as though their entity is chosen this for all of you. Next up is going to be Raven.
So did Shrike share the information she learned about these people?
My assumption was that she was sharing the information with the people to encourage them to leave.
Did she share it with us though?
Yeah, you could have overheard
Okay.
it, or then yeah,
Okay.
she says yes.
Okay. Because if I don't know anything about these people, my approach would be different. So Raven is a cat burglar seductress. She's kind of like Selena Kyle, only she's only 5 feet tall. I think since she does know these people's predicament, she would try to steal a wagon of food supplies and give it to them if they leave. If they agree to leave. So I don't know which end of that you want me to roll. It's either a finesse to steal the wagon or a sway to convince them to leave.
Which one would you like to roll?
I think probably the finesse, unless you want me to roll prowl. It's the same.
So if you're stealing their wagon, they're gonna have
No,
a
not their
hard-
wagon. I'm stealing someone else's wagon and giving it to them.
Can I throw out a suggestion actually for this idea?
Absolutely. Just for free for me
if-
to mention that anybody can like pitch in ideas for this kind of stuff.
This is Raven doing this, right?
Yes.
So if you knew about this ahead of time, this might be a good opportunity for a flashback saying you already stole this, and,
Okay.
and say you did the role in the past and you're bringing it to them to convince them to go now.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like if you were stealing a wagon, there's no wagon here. It would have been a flashback scenario. Normally, I can cause flashbacks to cause a bit of stress. I'm gonna say this is a 0 stress flashback. Whereas stealing is a risky scenario, but if you give these people a conveyance, that would have a greater effect.
Yep. Conveyance being the wagon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And can I push myself on the roll?
Say again?
Can I push myself on the roll?
You can, but just because this is a
Okay.
background thing. I'm not going to make it actually cost you any stress. That's a great time to introduce the additional mechanics. Is that after the roll, you can spend some stress in order to cause an additional effect. This was a 6 difficulty the whole time, I swear. And with that, Raven pushed herself when she was stealing the wagon. Normally a great regular success is 3. Because it was a partial success, it would have been 3. It would have been 2 ticks. By pushing herself, she pushes it to 3. The clock is complete. You have all managed to evict the previous inhabitants from the Eyrie and claimed it for yourselves. All good so far?
Yeah.
Now I want to introduce a couple of additional subsystems. This game has a lot of subsystems to it, but the 2 I think that will be most important are stress and harm. Stress is basically what makes your scoundrels special. You are underdogs in the world of Duskfall. You are in a tier 0 gang with a weak position within the city. You have found this hidden location. It appears to be just a regular stone building, and it's off to the side of Crow's Foot or some other district. It's undetermined at this point. Just suffice to say, it is hidden. Across the next couple of days, you gather some additional cultists to worship the Strix, and when your character fails, I may cause you to suffer harm. That's one of the subsystems. When that happens, you can choose to resist it. There are 3 types of harm. I'm just going to call them lesser, standard, and greater harm, like the 1, 2, 3, and then potentially the 4th degree of harm, which is lethal harm. If you choose to resist it, bam, period, you do resist it. You're going to roll a single d6, or sometimes I might have you roll one of your attributes, insight, prowess, or resolve, to resist it instead. You lose stress equal to 6 minus your highest result on the die. Everybody follow me so far?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see on your character sheets that you've got basically 7 hit points, like 7 harm points. I think it was 7. Sorry, you've got 5 harm points. If you have your first levels of harm checked off, you'll have a lesser effect. If your second level is checked off, you'll have a lower die on your action ratings. And if your third one, your character needs help. If you take a 4th level harm and do not resist it, your character dies outright. Because resist checks are always successful. All the roll is to determine how much stress your character takes from it. Stress is probably one of your most important resources, because you can choose to take a little bit of extra stress in order to increase the effect on one of your rolls after seeing the result. It's also used to resist the harm. And I think the third most common thing is for flashbacks. If a flashback is something that's going to take significant effort, it might cost you 1 or 2 stress if it would be that risky, that difficult to arrange. Once your stress bar fills up, it resets to 0 and you take 1 trauma. That's that cold, haunted, reckless, vicious, those kind of things. Your character has a little bit of a personality quirk after that you may or may not choose to opt into. That trauma is actually another avenue to accumulate additional advances for your character. Keep that in mind if you accumulate enough stress. And with that, I feel like we're ready to play the game.
Let's do it.
Everybody, please arm yourselves with pens and shield yourselves with graph paper as we gather around our dastardly scoundrels. We enter the world of Blades in the Dark, which was once a mystical, fantastical realm with gleaming towers over idyllic forest glens. However, this was a millennia ago, before a cataclysm shattered the Isles and left magic just as burned out as the splintered embers of their sun. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, vengeful spirits, and hungering horrors were unleashed across the world and entered a state of perpetual night. The dark crowning jewel of the Shattered Isles is Duskfall, also known as the Dusk. is the capital of Akaros. No longer separated from its sister islands by seawater, it seems more like a deep black ink dotted by benthic constellations where demonic leviathans may roam. The Dusk was once founded a couple centuries before the Cataclysm, a millennium ago, as a humble mining settlement on a river delta. Across generations, the settlement matured into a port town. When the world was splintered, the hapless survivors were at the mercies of spirits fleeing the broken gates of death. In exchange for protection, much of Duskfall's inhabitants swore fealty to the immortal emperor, whose persistent magics afforded them some safety. They could not be secured against the rains, however, and a great deluge flooded the mines. For centuries, these mines were little more than aquatic tombs, until modern steam-powered machines could free them from the grip of the depths. Around 300 years into the Empire's reign, the first Leviathan was conquered, and only several years later, their harvest yielded the invention of refining Leviathan blood. This hostile, living fluid is the source of power for modern electroplasmic technology, most notably the lightning barriers first constructed around the district of Charter Hall, and then all of the Imperium, to protect the populace from the fiends of the broken continents where the waning sorceress runes had been failing. On the 809th year, Scotland's city of Lockport became the center of most Leviathan blood refining, but its corruption of their island led to the Scotlanders crowning a new king and queen. The rebellion caused the Unity Wars, which only ended in the year 845 of the Imperial era, when the Scotlander Queen Elaine and her husband were assassinated. The year is now 847 IE, the Imperial era. You are all founders of the fledgling cult of the Strix, the Flock. Your Eyrie is somewhere in Crowsfoot, hidden both in location and disguised as a simple stone building easy to overlook. Recently, the spirit bells at Bellwether Crematorium have rung, signifying that someone has died within the city. The Spirit Warden's Deathseeker crows circled around your district, and Crowsfoot, which is ruled by violent gangs at this time, the ringing is different. The largest gang, the Crows, who like most crime syndicates is not free from internal conflict, had a former ward boss known as Rorik. His corpse was found by the Deathseeker Crows and taken by the Spirit Wardens before his ghost could manifest. Lissa is responsible for his demise, or so the rumors say, and now she is in charge of the Crows' operations. In the power vacuum of Rorik's death, the gangs of Crowsfoot are recruiting anyone they can, by choice or by force. The Lamp Blacks and Red Sashes are two of the largest of these gangs, enemies now waging open war on the streets. Your crew is poised to profit or be destroyed in the chaos. The Lamp Blacks leader, Basso Bass, has you in his cramped office, overlooking the coal warehouse floor with several thugs hanging about, armed for war. His desk has an oil lantern flickering in the cold, next to a carafe filled with an amber liquid that matches a mostly empty whiskey glass. "I've got a job for you," he says. "Plant this artifact somewhere in the Red Sash's lair where they won't discover it. It's covered in weird runes, and when one of you pick it up, it makes your head throb. Of course, there's coin to be had when you're done with the score." The question is, what is the score? Do you all plan to ally with the Lampblacks and take this job? Were you sent here in the past by the Red Sashes to assassinate him? Do you tell him simply to fuck off and make on your way?
Well, now seems like a good time to decide how long we've all been working together exactly, and to what effect we know each other's abilities.
You were all, at the very least, parts of the same gang and decided to claim the Eyrie together. I'd say at least a season.
Yeah, at least long enough to have all been affected by the Strix.
To be affected, to have seen it yourself, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do we like the Lamp Blacks? Do we like the Red Sashes?
We probably don't like either one of them, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we should go for immediate effect, or rather immediate benefit to us, and pissing off this guy seems like a bad idea since we're in his hideout.
and he's got all his
Surrounded
Yeah.
by guards.
guards are loaded for bear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we always could take this artifact and try to figure out what it is, if it's worth anything.
and try and flint it.
Maybe sell it to the other side.
Ooh.
And that could be done in between. Like you could accept the score from him and then go back to the Eyrie and try to gather information on this artifact. Or you could just, like, we could make it a flashback situation and say your characters knew you're going to be called on him and say you know information right now. That's going to be up to you guys which avenue you want to go down.
I'm interested in exploring our options and, like, quote unquote, taking the job and then taking this back to the Eyrie and maybe deciding there.
Basobaz did not become leader of the Lampblacks because he was an uncunning man. If you are going to accept the job without conviction, it would require a roll to convince him that you'll take it eventually.
So which one of us is best at that kind of deception?
Probably me, but before we do that, could we... Maybe I should ask him if we can see the statue, and see if somebody who's good at attune or study or something like that can
You do
figure
have a
out
whisper
what it is.
in your cult. The question is if you want to do that here in the office, or if you want to have had a chance to have studied it beforehand.
Maybe, you know what? Can I persuade him to tell us what it's going to do? So, because, you know, I'm afraid that it's going to hurt us while we're on our way to do the job.
This sounds like a sway, but because it is armed with logic. I didn't mean to suggest an action for you. That was out of turn
that's
for me.
exactly what I was going for. So,
Is there a way to assist with an action, by the way?
There are
There is.
two ways to assist. One way is that you can spend, I think it's one stress. It might be two stress. I need to double check the rules. And you can
One
give
stress.
the person, it's one stress, and you give the person an additional die. The other way is to create a setup for them beforehand. And then the setup works for anybody who fulfills that setup. And the setup specifically says it's either going to improve the position or increase the effect of anybody who uses that setup. So, like, if you guys were breaking into a building and somebody pulled a ladder over, bam, right there, increase effect. So, but this sounds like it would be spending a stress to kind of like help confound Basobaz as you're making this persuasion.
Basobaz and the... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say Raven will spend a stress to assist with your sway roll.
okay, so that'll give me 4 die, which is pretty sick.
An additional way, since I have the opportunity, to increase your die roll is to take a devil's bargain, which will give you an additional die, or you can push yourself to give yourself an additional die spending stress. You can spend stress before the roll to get an additional die. You can also spend stress after the roll to get an increased effect. You cannot push yourself and take a devil's bargain. A devil's bargain does not cost any stress, but it may have some other complications. It may cause some kind of clock to start ticking. It might cause you harm. And the different districts have certain ghosts around them that prefer devil's bargain. So they may augment the devil's bargain in certain instances.
There is a caveat to that. You can push yourself and take a devil's bargain. You just can't get a die for both. You can push yourself for effect and take a devil's bargain for a die, but you can't get dice from both of them.
Thank you for the clarification.
Can you get like dice from aid and dice from pushing yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, because I can hear what the devil's bargain is before I accept it, I would like to hear if you do have a devil's bargain available.
The only bargain that you're going to find for the most part in Crowsfoot, a place dominated by gang violence, is one where instead of negotiating, your character is just going to try to kill this guy outright. And that would give you not just 1, but 2 dice.
No, thank you. So, I'll take the assisted die, and what is my position and effect currently for this sway?
This is a reasonable question. Like, so long as you stay within the room, he doesn't mind you handling the artifact. So it's a controlled position with, honestly, I would take it as a greater effect. Like, you can get full grasp of this artifact.
That's the best possible situation. I'll take that. So I'm controlled greater with 4 dice. I can't possibly fuck this up, I say before I roll. Okay, there's a 6 in there, so it's okay. That could have been bad.
You do succeed. Basso says, of course, you are new to Crow's Foot as far as the gang goes, so I please, go ahead, take a hand of this. Just please don't exit the room, or perhaps my men might be a little bit overzealous.
Oh, which one of our party is good at figuring out what these kinds of things are?
That's a vulture.
Should I use study or I'd like to take a look at it?
You can do one and then the other. They would give you different information. Studying probably would be just your character assessing the runes, but attuning, your character would need to pick it up and get that throbbing headache as your character connects their spirit to the ghost field within this object.
I could try to study it.
Yeah, I think we should study it first. So
Can multiple people do the same thing?
They can. I'm going to try to discourage it because it could lead to slowdown of the game. Let's choose who is going to volunteer as the primary. However, in future instances, maybe people could set each other up. There's also group work. Your characters could work together. The way that works is that the primary actor is going to take stress for anybody who doesn't get a success, more or less. Wow. So like if you guys both want to roll, then we can just group roll it, and then whoever's the best at them also rolls, and then if anybody doesn't get a 6, then they're going to suffer some stress.
Well, I have 2 die in study.
may I just take one stress and help her, aid her?
Yes, you can also do that. So you take the stress, and then she will roll with an extra die.
So +1 die, and this is risky or controlled?
I'm going to say this is risky with a standard effect.
Okay.
Hey, a 5.
So do you have an opinion on what this thing is, or do you want me to go with what I have spent the last month thinking it might be?
We probably should go with what you think it is, because I don't know.
So, judging by the runes, because it's only a partial success, your character believes that there's something inside of this artifact. They're used to bind it. And the feeling you get when you pick it up is it is sapping your life force directly.
So I don't want to hold it for very long.
No, probably if you guys were going to go all the way across the district, you'd want to share the burden. Otherwise, somebody might risk strain or harm.
So does it help if you have gloves on, or doesn't that matter?
It seems that this field penetrates materials.
Okay.
That was gonna be my question. If there was like a carrying case or something.
So we need to get a
Maybe
wagon.
if you carried it on a stick.
Yeah, in a satchel on a stick.
like a bindle.
Yeah, bindle. Oh, I'll offer to dress up as a homeless person with a bindle. So it doesn't look like I'm carrying anything at all. I could play the role of a homeless person.
And now it sounds like Vulture maybe wants to attempt a tune roll.
I'm not sure I want to try. I mean,
It's up to you.
May I use something from the loadout now?
What do you have in mind?
Wasn't Fine Spirit Mask supposed to protect the wearer?
It is supposed to protect you, yes.
Okay.
And so that would give you a +1 to your attune roll if you tried to if you put your mask on right now, and then, or you had it on the entire time, and then you attune to it.
Okay, I like to put it on and try to attune to a +1 and position.
Standard position.
Standard is
Standard. Sorry, that would be risky position.
risky. Okay.
Standard effect.
Standard effect. Okay.
And I'll take a stress
Oop.
or not.
Oops.
Or I'll take a stress to give him an extra
Sure,
dice.
sure.
if
Go
that'll
ahead.
help.
Check off your stress. He can roll and just 1d6. This is a nice system where you can just, like, if you wanted to do that, he didn't give me a chance. He can just roll a d6 naked, and we'll see what it gets.
So now on my character sheet, I just click the stress.
You click one of those little ticks. And so, just like if you take a devil's bargain, if you do it and you don't get the results you wanted, it's just too bad. If you didn't get the massive critical success you wanted, then you still put the cost in. Either way, the benefit was getting the dice. With the partial success, I'm going to give a complication this time. So Vulture gets full effect. Inside of this artifact is desperate Leviathan blood that has been refined over and over again. It's on its last line. It maybe has one more cycle of refinement before it's totally depleted, which means you essentially have the immortal blood of a hungry demon in a jar that Basso wants you to put inside of the Red Sash's quarters, probably because it's going to break out of the ruins eventually and harass them in some way. The complication is that Vulture is a little bit spooked out by it. It reaches out to him as he reaches out to it.
Yeah, I drop. Well, I don't drop. I leave the artifact on the table.
Yeah, you can put it right back on there. But the basic idea is that if it gets out, it already has a taste for you.
Okay. Should I take note on that? Yeah.
I've got that. I've got that complication
okay.
noted.
Okay.
So what does
Nice.
the artifact look like? Is it a glass jar or ceramic jar? Or...
It's like a porcelain sphere with a flat bottom, covered in
Okay.
runes.
So quick question. Clicking stress or right-clicking stress didn't do anything to it.
You have to click one of the boxes right next to it.
Yeah, I clicked
Huh.
like
That's
the
strange.
little...
Let me make sure that I gave everybody the right authorities. I was pretty sure I did that.
Okay.
It should turn red when you click on it.
Yeah, I tried clicking and right-clicking and it
Yeah.
doesn't do anything.
I'll confess I made the wrong person the owner on this.
Okay.
Oops.
Try again.
All right, that works. It turns red.
Awesome. Yeah, I just made the wrong person the owner. So you could look at it, but you couldn't change it.
Yeah, and I could roll the abilities, but I couldn't do anything else. Okay.
And so it's up to Vulture what he shares, but it would have to be open, like Basso is right there in front of you guys.
Did I hear Goose? Did I hear you talk about like dressing up as a homeless person and carrying the bindle around?
Yeah, he said it out loud, but he was really just talking to himself. But it was clearly audible for anyone.
I'm not gonna say anything yet, but I'll tell them as soon as we leave. This guy's hideout.
I feel like... Yeah, so please finish. I didn't mean to interrupt you, pal.
No, go on. Go on, go.
Mine was a joke, so don't worry about what I was going to say.
Yeah, I tell them. There's a demon inside. Well, not a demon, but the blood of a demon.
Okay, but we don't know that until we leave the room, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say it in front of this guy.
I was gonna say, between the chicken hawk reference and the bindle, I feel like we're like this. It's just Looney Tunes all over the place.
So is Basso willing to, or maybe we already know where the Red Sash's hideout is?
Yes, it is common knowledge. So the Lampblacks are on the west side of Crowsfoot, just like in a coal refinery, while the Red Sashes are on the east side in a swords academy.
Is it so because they're in a coal factory? Are they more like a gang of like laborers? Like, is the gang made up of mostly people who maybe were like factory workers or dock hands, versus like the Red Sashes are more hoity-toity, or are they more even ground?
Because you asked, I will tell you that the Lampblacks are the former Lamplighter Guild that turns to crime when their services were replaced by electric lights in the city. They run protection rackets with a small crew of smugglers, but they're trying to diversify and expand, while the Red Sashes have nobility among their ranks. They're a gang under the cover of the Iruvian school of swordsmanship known as the Falling Star style. Their primary criminal endeavors are smuggling and drug dens, as they have a master alchemist on staff.
I tell you what, those Red Sashes, they're a bunch of uptight pricks. So I don't mind maybe putting something where it shouldn't be to maybe get that stick that's been lodged so firmly up their ass, firmly dislodged from said ass.
I agree. Those hoity-toity types are the worst.
Goose, you're all right.
So I want to ask Bazo, any suggestion for safe transport of this artifact?
I don't really have too many suggestions. My guys used a wheelbarrow.
You know what? Straightforward. I like it. But maybe you got some sort of like a lead box or something that maybe stopped one of us from looking like a vulture over there who looks like he's just seen his dead grandmother.
You could buy a lead box if you wanted to, but like I said, we used a wheelbarrow. Just keep a little bit of distance and it shouldn't give you too much of a migraine.
Alright, fair enough.
I don't think I mentioned that, of course, I'm a fair gentleman, so there will be some coin involved if you get this job done.
Well,
How
of
much
course.
coin would that be?
Yeah.
In total terms, it's a 6 coin job, which is a standard job, but one of that coin would need to be taxed by the crows who run this local district.
Fucking crows. Getting their claws and all kinds of shit.
I think they're talons, technically.
You guys would certainly know. You have a bit of a penchant for birdsmanship.
Okay, so it sounds like we're leaning towards actually doing this job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
My vote is we just accept and move on. And DM, is it safe to say that if we think of questions that we could have asked in the scenario later, we could just do a flashback to when we were here?
It's incredibly safe to say that.
Let's say it then.
Let's say it.
If you guys want to do a flashback back to this scene and ask some questions that you didn't feel like you were comfortable, it would probably be a zero stress flashback.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Is there any way that you could help us? Like, you're giving us the item, but like, do you know of any events that are coming up that would would be a good distraction for us to infiltrate the Red Sashes?
This seems like an action rule, because in a certain way he's really strong-arming you guys into making this score. So
Right.
he kind of is testing you as a part of a sub gang of the Lamplighters. the lamplex. So if you wanted to make that, what action roll do you think it would be to coerce him into helping you help him?
Ooh, I'm gonna say, I'll use consort because I feel like I'm appealing. You know what? As a fellow laborer, as a fellow man with dirty hands, you understand that time is of a limited resource, and we gotta look out for each other. We gotta help each other. So, we're helping you with this, and you're paying us. But, maybe ensuring our success is a bit of a necessity. What do you say?
Seems like a risky standard situation.
Okay.
I will spend distress to give him an extra die.
Extra dice. Plus 1d. Oh, that was almost a 6. Oh, I danced on it.
Typically, the consequence of these kinds of rolls is up to me, and so Basso is going to say, I like a certain something about you, Kestrel. Come on over. Maybe let me pour you a glass. And as he pours some whiskey to you, he pours one glass for himself, and then he smashes the other glass on your hand for a 1 level of harm. Would you like to resist this?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna punch him in the face. But I don't know. I'm definitely not gonna take this. No, I'm gonna resist it. But I'm not gonna take this lying down.
So if you're gonna punch him in the face, what action would you? What attribute? That sounds like prowess to me to try and resist.
Yeah, 100%.
So you can roll prowess to resist this as he smashes a glass on your hand for insolence.
Cool. So I just roll.
And so you will take 4 stress.
That's fine. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You pick your hand up right before he smashes. He smashes it on the table, and you clock him over the face. And he says, Kestrel, I do like you. Let me go ahead. If you want, you can take the same wheelbarrow that we used for this thing.
Oh, you're so gracious, and I shake my bloodied hand off.
If you want, because your knuckles are bloody.
Sorry, yeah, I'm like shaking my bloodied hand, like in pain.
Because you resisted, he didn't actually get you on your hand.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You just took stress from.
Got it.
It could be his blood, but not your blood.
Yeah.
I understand.
Still punched him in the face.
Cool. I misunderstood that. I take out like a little pocket square, then wipe the blood off and go. And instead of being sarcastic, I kind of like give him a little nod and say, "Your generosity knows no bounds."
Now get out of my sight until I no longer have to see this ridiculous thing.
If nobody else goes for it, I'll load it up in the wheelbarrow and I'll carry it on.
Anything else we're doing is going to have to be a flashback.
You catch Bruce putting like mud on his face, like he was ready to be a homeless person. They sees you take the wheelbarrow. Whoa, right, okay.
Nah, no, by all means.
The role of a lifetime.
I feel like you and I are getting along. My thing for Vice was attending the theater.
Is it really? That's
it was.
That's legit. So now that you guys have decided you've accepted this score, you need to provide a detail for your plan. It's the point of attack, some connection you're attempting to apply. If you're not sure, you have some time to gather information to discover that detail.
Okay.
So we're going to try to go in like unseen, stealth-wise, right?
That's one option?
Yeah, that's one option.
If you guys scroll out and go scrolling to the right, you'll see the Red Sash Sword Academy to the east.
I'm wondering, and again, feel free to disagree with me. I come up with like weird ideas. How do we feel about like a bait and switch or like a distraction?
What page are the what do you call them? The list of options for doing a job. 127.
Oh right, there's types of them.
There's assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transportation as far as the detail that you're providing.
Okay, so I feel like it's either like stealth or there was one before that. Deception? Yeah.
So we could also, I feel like we could make occult work. We could convince maybe convince a ghost to bring it in, or I don't know, something like that. I feel like occult could work for this. So deception, stealth, or occult. And then assault is always an option, but we probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, going in hot and heavy might not be the best idea for this.
Yeah, not for something that's called a sword academy.
Yeah. I think we probably want to do stealth, occult, or social, probably.
The social would mean we're negotiating with them. Maybe we have something they
Well,
want.
bribing a cook to take it in for us.
Ooh.
Okay, that could work. That could work.
Oh, okay. Combined idea. What if one of us can we see if there's what if they're looking for a cook? Or what if they're looking for like a menial labor job?
With that question, you might want to look on your character sheet to see who is your beneficial ally, who you've got a positive relationship. Maybe you could incorporate a friend into this, and that would give you some type of advantage, having another two hands on the job.
So I have a physiker is my close friend, and then I have an extortion.
I have an apothecary as a close friend.
My close friend is a noble. She might know something about them.
Yeah, because they have nobility in their ranks.
Yep.
Anybody else?
I know a tavern owner. I feel like the nobility angle seems pretty good, though.
Yeah. Green Bear? Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Nope. You're fine.
Yeah, my close friend is my father's ghost. I'm not sure he could help.
Well, if we wanted to do the occult angle, that could be useful.
Yep.
But it sounds like we're leaning towards either deception or social right now. And it's important to note, we can pick one of these things, but that doesn't prevent us from having somebody stealth in. If your specialty is stealth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're just kind of picking like a baseline or a foundational.
One thing that's important, I don't remember if this is in the base game or a hack that I played. Our crew sheet should have a preferred method of doing these jobs. Do we have that information on our crew sheet?
I would say at base it's a cult, so probably a cult. I don't remember reading that. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I would say a cult is the preferred method of the crew.
I think it was another way to gain crew experience if you did the job using your main thing. But
it's like if you advance the agenda of your deity or embody its precepts, if you contend with challenges above your current station, bolster your crew's reputation, or express the goals, drive, conflict, or essential nature of the crew are the ways to mark experience.
Okay. Well, do you want to put it to a vote, guys? Since we can't seem to decide.
What's the easiest way to vote?
So I think we each put down what our, just in chat, put down what your preferred method of going in or preferred detail is, and then whichever has the most votes wins.
So I guess
what are the precepts of the Strix?
I didn't create any. It's your cult. But I did have an idea for a couple of things. It was that the Strix is a punisher of evildoers. Additionally,
These guys are drug dealers, so
yeah, everybody in Dusk was an evildoer in some way. And additionally, it does favor vampires. That the Strix is kind of eager to create new vampires.
Well, that blood might create new vampires or new demons or something. But
Do we have a crew sheet in Foundry?
You too. Let me make sure I make it public for everybody. All right, you should be able to find the Cult of the Strix there.
Got it. Yep.
So we are going after evildoers, but it doesn't really prescribe that we need to do it in a occult way.
I'm just gonna put my preference down in chat, and you guys may do the
Okay,
same
we
if you like.
I'm just gonna put that list in case anybody's not sure what the options are.
I don't think I'm. Oh, I've got one in Prowl.
I kind of did wishy-washy, stealth and deception.
Oh, you guys
Ah.
typed in Discord instead of the game chat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But we can cross-reference. So we have. Technically, we've got 4 in deception,
Deception.
2 in stealth, 1 in social. So deception seems to have it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, deception is definitely the winner at this point.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So then, okay.
You have
And then we're not-
chosen your approach. Your
Who are we
detail
going
is you're
to-
using deception.
Who are we going to manipulate or trick?
What's nice is we don't have to decide that now.
That's right. You're just kind of choosing that detail. You're applying some connection. Then it's part of the action first, planning second option. So you've chosen. Any additional planning can be done through flashbacks and setups. Now it's time to set your item loadout. Choose if you're going to be light, medium, or heavy.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with medium.
I'm going with medium.
I'm going with medium too.
I've also realized it says light, normal, or heavy, so I'm picking normal.
It is normal. My mistake. So yeah, go ahead.
That was okay.
Into your character sheet, change your loadout, and I'll appreciate it if you say out loud, like you guys said, you're going normal.
I'm not seeing where to select my loadout.
Oh,
If you
so there's
go in to the right, it says like light, and then you can click on that one to the right side of the tabs.
so like there's like your tabs in your character sheet. You have like abilities, loadout, notes, and all items, and then under the loadout tab in the black bar you have
The drop
yeah.
down.
I
Yeah.
see it now.
Yeah, that abilities loadouts notes, they don't look like buttons.
They do not. Okay.
Since we're not... Oh, we are doing deception, right? So I'm taking light.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the thing with what you choose for your loadout is the narrative change. So if it's light, your character looks like a normal person. Normal looks like you're kind of bearing a little bit of weight. If you've got some kind of gear exposed. Where it's heavy, your character is clearly geared for war.
Or work. Maybe not war.
I was gonna say that's what I'm going for. Is like if we're doing a deception, anyway. I don't want to pre-plan. I want to.
What time of the day is it?
It's always dark out.
It's always like, even in the daylight, it's only twilight.
But is there like a normal rhythm of like people being normally awake and then people being normally asleep?
There is a normal rhythm, and there's a lot of flavor. Like apparently every hour has a specific name of like wine, song, things like that. I didn't get that deep into memorizing it,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but there are specific like roles for different hours. You can
I'm
say
just wondering if
whether
we're
you want to
going
approach in day or night.
Okay.
We don't have to decide any of those kind of details until the job actually starts.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
can I consult my my close friend Rosalind Kellis, a noble, to see what she knows about the red sashes?
Yeah, we can say that it's going to give you an advantage because you're using nobility on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we don't get to know what she knows, but because we've consulted her, we can use that as like part of a flashback later to say like, oh, when I consulted with so and so, they said blah blah blah, and that gave us an advantage.
It also
Yes.
can help us out for our engagement roll.
Which is what it's
Yes.
going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going with a normal loadout, and I'm just going to call it now. I am going to have my. I have as a slide. I have fine clothes, an outfit that appears to be of such fine make as to pass you off as a wealthy noble. And because I'm currently wearing it, it's going to cost 0 load, or not currently, but when the job starts, it'll cost me 0 load.
Nice. If you go to the, I guess it's the 4th tab for you guys, there's the little briefcase, looks like items. There should be an items folder there, and you can just drag them into your loadout as it goes along.
If this goes against the ethos of the game, let me know. But I'm wondering, like, if you're going in as a noble, can I go in as like your bodyguard?
That seems like not a bad idea. We could do that.
Like you and I can both dress up like super pompously, and like I'll just sit there and look menacing behind you.
And what about the rest of us?
So is that
Well, we
That-
don't have to decide any of those details until we make
Yes,
after
true.
the engagement roll.
true? Okay, I'm getting
so-
ahead of things then.
So I think
But
you guys have chosen your plan. Is there any like extra additions you want to put on there before we make the engagement roll?
So am I the only one going in and with light loadout?
I think
Um,
so.
We could try
Yes,
getting some info on the place we're going before we actually go.
Do you want to gather some information?
Yeah, I would like to gather some information.
That's totally reasonable as a part of like choosing this deception. Tell me about your information gathering technique.
Like, so I would go take a look. Like, just cross the street, walking, like, just going my way, take a look at the place, see if there's any guards. Maybe make some talk with them.
So it's going to be a survey roll. I know you didn't suggest it, but that definitely sounds like survey.
Okay. Risky standard.
I'm going to say it is risky standard, yes.
Okay.
Was a 6 there for a second.
It's weird. It's showing up on one side for my recording, but it's not showing up on the other. Either way, you got a partial success, right?
Yeah, 3, 4. Yeah. A 3 and a 4. Yeah.
As you're walking along, it's not the red sashes that give you problems. It's the blue coats, which are the city watch in this town. They're the ones who are most likely to interrupt any of your things going on in between your destination and your starting location. You do learn some information that, of course, they have an excellent alchemist always looking for good, talented help. If you guys wanted to try and apply that, they can use a cook, of course. They can find some things, but there's not really any celebrations going on at this moment. However, they are hiring. There's a large turnover just because the nature of cooking with rats and mushrooms, because Duskfall is eternally in darkness. There's not a huge affordance of wheat and other actual fruits and vegetables. So most people live a diet of like seaweed and rats and mushrooms, and that's the normal standard fare. If you had access to some higher noble foods, maybe that would help you in getting inside as a chef to be like, oh, like I can provide some nice real ingredients, but you're going to risk a level 1 harm. Would you like to resist that?
Yeah, I would like to resist that. What should I roll?
How would you like to resist this? As the blue coats, like they see you walking up and down, and they're gonna say that it's after curfew, and they're basically gonna kind of like beat you up a little bit and send you home.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to. Not sure how should I. I'm gonna try to talk my way out of it.
Good call. That sounds like insight to me.
Okay. So how's the roll?
Click on the word insight on your character sheet,
Yep. Inside.
and then it should be just roll it. And so you will take 3 stress and not take any harm, as your character kind of like sweat beats off of their brow as you know you're in a bad situation. You explain, oh no, like you've got 15 minutes left of curfew, and they say, all right, we'll let you go, and they kind of like follow you. They're counting the time down until that curfew actually ends, but you manage to duck into some cantina and find refuge.
Okay.
If anybody couldn't tell, the Bluecoats are a corrupt, violent, and cruel gang that kind of position themselves as the City Watch, but every district has their own large, well-armed Bluecoats district group, their company.
So are they centralized?
They are not centralized because every district has their own company.
My bad friend is a blue coat.
So there's a Bluecoat who has it out for Raven.
Yep. Oh, yeah. My rival is the blue coat. My shady friend is a locksmith.
But Vulture was able to learn that if you were somehow able to gather some good ingredients to get into the Red Sashes, that might allow you to overcome some obstacles in this engagement role.
Do any of us know where we could acquire better food ingredients?
If you're going to actually buy them, you probably
No,
need to go
where
to
would
the
I?
night market. If you're going to steal them, you need to go to the farms.
My recommendation at this point would be to say do the engagement role because a lot of this like pre stuff is what you would normally use flashbacks for during the job.
Yeah, I was just trying to like fluff up the engagement, but it sounds like we're good. So the base of the engagement roll is a fortune roll, which I, as the GM, make. It's one of the only rolls I get to make. It starts as a 1 die for sheer luck. I think this is a daring adventure, so I'm going to give you an additional die. Yeah, I think you're exposing a vulnerability of the target because they definitely want to have regular common laborers coming in and out, not necessarily holding on to them. So it's an additional die for 3 because of Raven's noble friend. Is that right?
Yep.
They're providing some aid or insight for this operation for an additional die for 4. And then I think that's all of the advantages you have. Does anybody offer any additional advantages?
None from my side, no.
Nope.
No, I think that's...
So then, because you are engaging with a higher tier gang, that's going to give you 1 less die. So it's going to be 3 dice. Here we go. That's a 6. That's good for you. So not only do you start in a controlled position, but you're going to overcome the first obstacle, which was the Bluecoats kind of blocking the way. So you're going to manage to sneak this mysterious artifact in on the wheelbarrow in on your little disguise of crops and things like that, getting into the Red Sash Academy. Immediately, you're in through the front door, and the only question is, who is not going in under this deception?
So we've got potentially me, dressed as a noble person, and Kestrel as my bodyguard. And then do we want to have somebody pretending to be a valet pushing the wheelbarrow?
I could do that.
Raven's gonna stealth in as separately.
And I should go with the rest of the group.
So you're sticking together.
We have one
Mostly.
person who's sneaking in on their own to
Yeah.
provide some assistance on the inside, hopefully.
So yeah, Raven's gonna sneak in separately from the group.
And
What's Raven's approach? Because you're part of that same engagement role. You will overcome the first obstacle I would set for you. But are you what are you thinking?
Use her stealth abilities and sneak in. Like climb the wall, or use her lockpicks to unlock a lock and sneak in.
Is there a servant's entrance?
well, what's nice about this game is Raven can pretty much just say, "I climbed the wall and use a lockpick to get in." And because our engagement roll was a 6, we're assumed to be taking the most intelligent path, which means Raven knows this is the best way to get in for Raven.
Precisely. And that's it. So Raven also overcomes the bluecoats and the hedge that would have blocked her sneaky entrance into the Red Sash Sword Academy.
There's a perfect person-sized cutout in the hedge that Raven just happens to find.
Plus,
This
you
hole
own
is for
5
me.
foot posts.
This is my hole.
I knew somebody was going to reference that.
All right. I think this is a good break time before we get to the action. I'm just going to activate it. First of all, just this full disclosure. Are people enjoying it so far?
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
It's
That's
a
good.
bit weird to think about the action in a non-chronological order.
Yeah,
It's hard,
It-
it's hard not to plan.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be challenging. All right. Break time. Go ahead, grab some water, a little bio break. We'll be right back.
Cool. See you sec.
Cool.
Welcome back, everybody. 4 of you have deceived your way through the front door of the Red Sash Sword Academy, while Raven has snuck in through the side door deep in their training chambers.
Do we still have that object or wheelbarrow of objects?
You
We're
do.
gonna push
However,
that around.
I didn't bring it in because I wanted to keep whoever's possessing it kind of anonymous. And so when it comes up, you can just say, I had it the whole time.
Okay.
So is Raven on a different map then?
She's on the same map, but she's further north than everybody else.
Oh, okay. Way up there.
This was originally a school of ancient Aruvian sword arts that has since expanded into criminal endeavors. Around you are swarthy Aruvian men and women trained with the wide-edged swords at their hips, as well as the heavy sashes around their waists. You can see that there's a small contingent of them who have the black etching along their sashes, showing that they're master sword fighters. However, none of you have spotted the master alchemist at this point.
All right. Well, let's start moving up until somebody stops us. How about that? Because just to be clear, what is our explicit goal for this job is to just sneak this inside and leave it there?
Yeah.
You want to put it somewhere none of them are going to notice.
I'm gonna saunter ahead.
I will kind of follow in your flank.
Yeah, go ahead and move your token. You can click on it and use WASD or click and drag. And right there, Goose is stopped. The active red sash woman to the right, tending to the bar, says, "Hey, you're the new help, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
You'll have to come back here. We'll get you into the kitchen, and from there we'll see what you're worth."
So we follow.
Sure.
I kind of separate myself out from these folks, and I'm going to attempt to make it look like I just happened to walk in with them, and I want to see if I can just walk past without them noticing.
This seems like a desperate sway to me.
Okay, desperate's good. That means I get to mark EXP.
True.
Would it still be desperate if I helped him?
It would still be desperate, but you could spend that one stress and he'll get an extra die anyway.
So I'm gonna again try to appear like a bodyguard. So again, like we are two separate entities. Like him and like myself and Goose are an entourage in and of ourselves, and I'm watching over him, but I'm not trying to watch over the other two.
So Shrike and Vulture are acting as the chefs, while you two are just kind of like, you're supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
we-
multiple people aid?
In this kind of aid, only one person can spend the stress to give him an additional die, unless we wanted to turn it into a group roll.
I don't think I'll need it, but I did want to hear real quick. I heard desperate. What's the effect?
Standard effect.
Standard effect. I will push myself. Well, yeah, I'll push myself to see if I can get great effect. So I'll take 2 stress.
For another die.
No, not for another die, but to make it great effect instead of standard.
I think you can decide that after the roll.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'll hold off then.
Because, you might crit. You got so many dice.
Okay, so that's 1 extra. Desperate standard. Not quite a crit. So I will go for a push the effect on this.
Yeah, you can go ahead and push that to put it to a full effect. While that does increase the effect, I think there's still a complication.
So does that mean I have great effect with a complication?
I think you'd have a standard effect with a complication.
Okay.
Do you still want to spend your stress?
I don't want a reduced effect, so I'll take standard.
Gotcha. So let me just find some complications. They're called consequences. I'm going to say this is going to put you in a worse position in the future. Your character is not the one with the artifact at the moment. You couldn't have smuggled it. Like it's a big jar. Neither you nor Kestrel, if Kestrel's going with you, could have the jar. That's your worst position.
That makes sense. I know this is a one-shot, but I can't find where experience is. Am I crazy? Oh, it's next to abilities.
Yeah, it's right next to it. You can just tick it off.
It's a dumb question, but could Raven have the jar?
We're not saying who has the jar. We're saying who doesn't have the jar right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So Raven could have it. Who knows? And with that, Goose and Kestrel are permitted to go forward. She's, you're just guests. You be careful in there, and maybe consider wearing a wider belt next time.
I'll nod graciously and continue on.
So they get experience when they roll because they rolled desperately.
Anytime you roll desperate, you get experience. You can also choose to roll desperate if you want at any time, if you just want the experience, but you put yourself in a bad position if you fail.
Okay.
And experience is typed in this game. So it's only an experience to, I guess that would be the resolve,
It would be to my abilities.
but to your resolve attribute.
So the little
right.
flags by abilities, and then each of the attributes, those little flags are the experience.
Exactly.
So, so like if you roll desperate on whatever he did, way, that gives him resolve experience.
Yeah, you
When
can.
would you get it on like the abilities? Would that be trying to use a special ability?
Once
That's
you fill up the experience track for that attribute, you can choose any ability within the attribute.
So once I fill up resolve, I can add one to anything under that. But if I wanted to get a new ability, that comes from experience that you get at the end of the session.
Oh, okay.
I feel like the special abilities, yeah, those ones need to be earned through downtime, or at the end of a session, you get more generalized experience. You can put anywhere.
Okay.
Okay.
So she's beckoning us around, like behind the bar over here, to get to where she needs us to go.
Exactly.
So, Vulture, you coming with me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna put you both on onion duty. We're very lucky to have onions this day, so don't waste the skins. I want you to put them into a stone barrel. Save every bit of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Got any tissues?
Oh, you think the nobles will afford tissues for one of your station?
I'll use my sleeve.
That's the spirit, girl. Go ahead, get on back there. And I don't have a map for the kitchen. I didn't expect you guys to go to the kitchen, so we'll just have to be like in this little corner.
Always expect the unexpected.
What are Vulture and Shrike doing in the kitchen?
Is there anyone else in the kitchen?
There are standard laborers,
Okay.
unless you want to say that there's someone special there.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to them and ask them if they know the alchemist.
And someone will tell you that they don't know the alchemist personally, but they are familiar with him. They say he prefers a very spicy kind of food, so his meals get prepared specially because he will add his own special sauce.
Okay.
Could I do a flashback?
Of course. What do you have in mind?
Hearing that the alchemist has his own like special sauce. I don't know if this is off the rails, but could it be that maybe we had found out about this ahead of time, and assuming that some of us would have gone to the kitchen, maybe we prepped like a small like laxative or mild poison to maybe help cause a distraction. I don't know if does that help or
It's
hinder us?
possible. I would say that this is a risky kind of flashback, so I would give it 2 stress if you want to pursue this route.
I want to put it to the group. I had the idea, but I don't know if it actually helps what we're trying to accomplish.
I think the idea of causing a distraction is a good one, and as long as you have the stress to spare, seems like a decent idea.
Yeah.
I currently have 5 stress with 4 remaining.
Well, one thing that's
not good.
One thing that's nice about a one shot is you don't have to worry about trauma retiring your character anytime soon. So, I mean, honestly, I say go for it.
All right, let's fire it up. 2 stress. Done.
Take the 2 stress. Which action rating do you think would dominate this action? This flashback?
Ooh, that's a good one. Study, survey, tinker, attune, command, consort. Maybe consort? As in, like, is it like we were consorting with people who knew about the alchemist, and it's either that or it's probably tinker to make the poison.
So it could be consort. I think tinker, you would need to be either Vulture or Shrike because they're the one actually preparing the food. They could do a tinker. Like I can't see a flashback where you guys would be in here already unless unless you were Vulture or Shrike, and they're like, oh, like welcome back, like we had you guys here before. Because
I'll go consort because I talked to my physiker friend who gave me the poison.
Awesome. Let's make it consort. Risky position, standard difficulty.
Okay.
So standard effect.
Oh no. Yes. Oh, please let it be that like he wasn't paying too much attention and he thought he gave me a poison, but he gave me something entirely different. Like it's mislabeled or something.
My idea was that he gives you exactly what you asked for, but you know, Paul, he's like kind of a clumsy guy. He was walking around and he was curious and he sniffed it, and you're gonna suffer another level 1 harm. Would you like to resist that?
Yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna have to. When I sniffed it, I know Paul, and he's a little bit weird, so I maybe wafted it. I didn't have my nose directly over it. So can I say that's a prowl?
It would be insight, prowess, or
Oh,
resolve.
sorry. I'll do prowess.
Yeah, I would agree. Prowess makes sense. And it's like I think like specifically wafting is more like an insight kind of thing. Like your character knows how to manipulate these kind of chemicals, but this says it's going straight off of Paul's hardiness. So you take 3 stress.
That does put me into a trauma.
You do not have your like rampant nosebleeds from this incredibly spicy diarrhea material.
Okay, that has put me that's filled my stress bar. What trauma do I take?
You got trauma.
Yeah, right at the gate.
Associated with this one, I want to give you paranoid.
I was thinking paranoid, yeah. Okay.
And you can return your stress to 0.
Cool. So I'm like, my eyes are everywhere in this place. Like, anything could go wrong. I'm constantly watching Goose and like seeing if like he trips up or whatever.
And so back to Vulture and Shrike. You're in the kitchen. People around you are cooking up. You were assigned on unimpeding duty as your first task.
So I'll start peeling onions, and I want to ask them about the what do they do with the onion skin? Do they compost it, or do they use it as alchemical alchemical ingredients?
Because your character is a leech, I'm going to say you know that they use the skins as alchemical ingredients.
Okay.
Nothing is wasted in Duskfall.
So if the like the barrel that they're putting the waste onion skins in is being filled up, could I deliver it wherever it needs to go?
You could take that role, and that would bring you to the alchemy room.
Okay. Is it a big enough container I would need help carrying it?
No, in general, all of the blades, all of your characters are actually competent in every one of the attributes. Your character can pick this up.
Okay.
When I move your token over, this is the left side's alchemy, the right side's cooking. What's your next objective?
Is this guy on the floor?
He is standing on the floor. I'm going to turn him around. He's at the alchemy station.
Oh, okay.
There's a dowdy red sash who appears to be an apprentice of alchemy, as well as a swordsmith, or a swordsman.
So I would like to deliver the container of the onion skins, and I would like to have hidden our artifact inside of it.
It's pretty cunning. What action would you like to use for that?
I would like to use Tinker.
I have no complaints for this. However, they regularly turn this over, so it's going to be a risky situation.
Okay.
With, I think, a reduced effect because the artifact is much larger than an onion skin. Do you still want to pursue this?
Yes.
When you say reduced effect, are you saying limited effect or standard effect?
Limited effect. I mean, maybe my vocabulary is not perfect, but like you get the idea. It's a limited effect.
Risky.
May I take stress
limited.
to help her?
Absolutely. So you take one stress to give her another die.
Okay.
So an extra die, risky, and then limited.
Then you can choose to also take 2 strain or devil's bargain to get another die. And then afterwards, you can also take 2 strain to increase the effect again.
Okay. So I will go ahead and do 2 stress for 1 more die. So that'll give me an additional 2 to what I've already got.
Let's see the roll.
Oh, that 4 did a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
That 4 pulled you up.
And then you said I could take 2 additional stress to increase the effect.
That is my understanding, is that you can take stress on both the before to get a die and after to get an additional effect, to bring it up to
Back to
standard effect.
standard. Okay, let's do that.
And so it was Shrike who had the artifact the entire time. She dipped it deep into the onion barrel, somehow hiding it, coming into the kitchen, and embedded it into the wall of this stinky, awful barrel that no one wants to investigate in the first place. However, you are going to suffer harm from doing so. Would you like to resist the harm?
Yes.
Which attribute do you think would be most appropriate for your resistance?
Is this harm to the artifact itself?
It's harm to your character.
Well, I mean, what's the harm from?
The harm in my head is either from holding the artifact or putting it into this kind of like sulfurous acidic concoction, or a combination of those two.
I'm thinking insight, just my knowledge to resist it.
Go ahead and roll.
Okay. So I haven't rolled one of these, so you just click insight and then no modifiers and just roll?
That should be it.
Okay.
You take 4 stress and no harm.
Okay. So that puts me full of stress now.
I'm not sure. I think full stress means you take a trauma and you go back to 0.
Okay. What kind of trauma do I suffer?
I think you're probably...
I would think haunted.
Haunted was my first guess. Unstable was my second guess. So go ahead, take haunted, return your stress to 0.
Okay.
And so not only does this Leviathan blood have a taste for vulture, but there's a certain aspect of it that is really resonating with Shrike. What's Vulture up to? He gave a good effort. Like he helped get her the arm garters to help protect her from the onion and alchemical splash. What else is he doing?
Well, I'm gonna help them finish the food, and I'd like to try offering myself to take it to the alchemist myself.
What action role do you think would make the most sense here?
May I use a flashback?
Of course.
So,
what do you have in mind?
Yeah, while I was surveying the place, I talked with one of the cooks, and like convinced him that I'm like a good how do you say? I don't know how do you say it in English? Camarero in Spanish, the one who serves
A gentleman.
the food. I guess the one who takes the food to your table.
Waiter.
The waiter.
Yeah, a waiter. Yeah, exactly. So, what should I roll for that?
You can roll survey for that.
Okay. Risky standard.
I think this is a controlled situation. You're just information gathering to be like, oh, can I bring this? Like, nobody has a problem not having to walk around. And standard effect.
Okay. Ooh, nice.
You do it. You can be the one to bring this to the Master Alchemist.
Should I take any stress for the flashback?
Let's say 1 stress.
Okay.
And the Master Alchemist is the spiteful red sash to the southwest of you.
Okay. I'll take the food to him. I'm gonna talk to him. I heard you're looking for some help.
You heard correctly. It's very difficult to find proper help in this city. It was so much easier in Aruvia, where people respected the admiration of the academics.
I know how you feel. I'm kinda an academic myself. So, what do you need help with? Maybe I could help you.
The most important thing is gathering ingredients, which, I appreciate you bringing this meal to me. I can already smell it has that spice that I really enjoy in a proper meal. It brings that vitality to me. I feel the pain in my mouth reminds me that I'm alive in this dark place. But otherwise, all I could really use help with is, you're saying that you're an academic. Are you saying you're an aspiring alchemist yourself?
No, but I have friends who maybe. They may be willing to help you. I could.
Then perhaps today is your or their lucky day. Yes, I definitely could use a small amount of help. And then I'm going to pan over to Raven. What's she up to?
She's looking for some red sash clothing to disguise herself. Although I can't see her token anywhere.
I have
there
revealed
she
it.
is. Ah.
It's not precisely where she needs to be. I could put her somewhere else. Maybe this makes a little more sense for what you have in mind. You're looking for red shirt clothing, less like you're going to their dormitories, or
Yes.
and from there you rummage through, you grab some attire. What's your next step?
My next step is to walk around, see if I can find these guys. See if my plan is, if they've already delivered the thing, I will lead them out the way I came in. So we're not conspicuously marching out the front door.
Then it seems like the actual role is for your character to get into disguise. What action do you think is appropriate for that?
Thinking probably prowl to find the clothing.
Mostly not so much to find the clothing, but to prowl about and find it unseen. I can agree with
Gotcha.
prowl.
And I will push myself for an extra die.
Yeah, I think this is risky. However, I also think it will have an increased effect. Sorry, I said risky. I mean desperate.
Desperate. And
So you can
increase the
check off
effect.
an experience, and if you succeed, it will have an increased effect.
Increased as in greater.
Correct.
Yep.
It brings you down to a standard effect. So you do manage to find attire that fits you as a small, petite woman. And then you can lurk into the common area. And this is where you are. You see Goose and Kestrel walking up the stairs while you are dressed as a red sash, speaking, or at least being ignored by the lethargic red sash next to you. With neither Goose nor Kestrel being aware of the situation of the score.
I will
Oh, sorry.
approach them and quietly ask if they know where the others are.
I think you can all see Vulture speaking to the Master Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just gesture over my shoulder into the, I guess that's the alchemy lab that Shrike is in.
Yes.
And would I have been able to tell that Shrike was successful in hiding the doohickey?
Because her success was successful, I don't think you could tell.
Then
Unless
I'll
you
just
wanted
say-
to make an action roll.
I will just say that while Shrike is working, I was gonna go into a little bit deeper in and see if we could make a little extra coin off of this job, maybe untaxed. So that was going to be my plan, since we've determined now that Shrike definitely had the dingle hopper,
The MacGuffin.
the MacGuffin,
The Maltese Falcon.
the Maltese Falcon. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, everybody knows that Shrike and Vulture, I'm going to say it was between the two of them in the wheelbarrow that they brought into the kitchen. So you know one of the two of them had the MacGuffin. And that's what Raven learns is that they got into the kitchen, and now it looks like they have split up and gone to their own situations. If you wanted to learn more, it would be some kind of roll to determine that.
Could I do another flashback to help with this?
Of course. What do you have in mind?
Could it be that we maybe discussed a call sign to help alert one another when the MacGuffin had been placed? Maybe like a bird call?
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, something like that.
If it's a vocal bird sign, I think it's too stressed, because that's like a really obvious thing in the middle of a building.
If I could make a suggestion,
Yeah, please
we
do.
all probably have some bird feathers. We could just change our appearance, like move,
Like tuck a feather under, like in a lapel or something.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Like put like a feather in your ear or something.
yeah.
That's good. I'm going to have to ask Shrike to spend the one stress for this, however, because she came up with it.
That's fine. So I will have put, a bird feather kind of in my hair.
Maybe it goes from one side of your head to the other one, and people can see
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
And the symbol is displayed. You all see the task is complete on top Shrike's scalp.
I guess I tap Goose on the shoulder. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I wasn't sure if somebody else was speaking.
I thought somebody was going to say something. But I guess not. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. If Goose doesn't see it, I'll tap him on the shoulder and go, "Is it your lordship? It would seem that our purpose here is complete, but if you would still like to go ahead with your prior engagement, I would be happy to escort you. And if this fine Red Sash, whom I have never met, would also like to take us to our engagement, then that would be good." And I look
Ooh.
very nervous as I say this.
Wow, that was really convincing. No, let's. If our business is concluded, let's get out of here.
If you would follow me.
And so
I guess we
Vulture
gotta kind of linger and wait for those two.
and the alchemist are conversing in between bites. However, eventually the alchemist stands up and says, "Something's wrong."
What's wrong?
They cover their mouth and they cover their ass, and they tell you this wasn't prepared properly.
I'll speak to the cook.
Do we see this happen to the alchemist?
You can see this happen, yes.
Can
Hey.
we wave Vulture over, saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, by the way, we're."
I wait before entering the kitchen to see if he goes anywhere.
We were trying to signal you to come follow us.
He's
I
going
forgot.
to leap
forgot.
over the banister into
Oh,
the
no.
alchemy section.
So I so I will continue talking to this apprentice, just kind of thanking him for having a brief discussion on alchemy and job opportunities, and then excuse myself to go back to work in the kitchens.
And just that's occurring, you are cut off by the master alchemist as he lands roughly in front of you with a quick, and then he will push you, going on to the barrel next to you, not the onion barrel, a different barrel where he relieves himself so that his internal alchemy can be preserved for the future.
Oh, wow. Every part of the buffalo, I
So
guess.
he recycles.
It's a composting program in Dustfall.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But he's going to shout, pointing at the kitchen and saying, "Something is wrong! I've been poisoned!" As this is a man who knows what the taste of poison, who knows the feeling of these things going through his bodies is like.
Yeah, he eats this poison on the regular. This is kind of a normal
That's
thing.
kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And so I'm going to start a clock. This is your character's escape clock, your progress clock towards escape.
Worth it.
So I would like to get out of this room and sabotage it on my way out so no one can follow me.
All right, if you're trying to just like barricade this little area, it would be like through this door.
Yeah, that way.
What action do you think would be most appropriate?
I'm gonna do wreck.
I would allow wreck here. It's definitely risky because you're essentially trying to collapse a part of an alchemy lab full of alcohol and gunpowders and all kinds of random things.
Sounds like fun.
I just said risky. I meant desperate. So you can check off an experience for this. I don't know where I got the word risky. It must be some different game that I used to play. And
Risky is
So
the normal.
that's what it is.
So I am a saboteur, so wreck is done much quieter than normal.
Ooh.
So I quietly wreck.
So
and
maybe
it's kinda-
changing that desperate.
I'll keep it desperate, but I'll give you a great effect.
Ooh.
Okay. So wreck, desperate, great effect, and then I'm gonna take 2 stress and push myself for an extra dice.
Very good.
All right, make that roll.
Yes.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. You have total success in this. You managed to block it off. As you're getting out the door, I'll move you real quick.
Okay.
You kind of make like the wafting motion over your face as the sound of the master alchemist behind you reverberates through the room, and then the red sashes at the table kind of like look at you like side eye, like the whale eye, and then they turn back to what they're doing.
Do not go in there.
Yeah.
That was a great effect. That's 3 ticks on the clock right there.
Okay.
Who's next?
So
So I was gonna lead the crew out the side door. If we can get.
What action do you think would be appropriate to sneak past? Because you're not just sneaking past red sashes. Your character probably knows that I think it's Mylena, the leader of the red sashes, what was at this globe to the north.
Oh, she's one of these people in this room. Oh,
Yes, she is.
the adorable red sash.
I thought I gave her her own token, but she's in. We'll say she's in there. I'll make it real fast, and then she's there.
So maybe we don't want to go that way.
May I use a flashback?
Of course.
The same guy who I talked to told him I was a waiter. Could it be that he was smoking next to the door, the back door of the kitchen to the streets? Maybe.
So a flashback usually
Like,
defines
I mean,
your character's actions. But maybe your character told him to take a smoke break.
Okay.
You know,
I mean, what I want is to know if there is a back door in the kitchen.
There can
we
be a
could
back door
use.
in the kitchen. In order to
Okay.
get there, for just your character, I think would be a controlled position. If you wanted to bring non-chef people through there, would increase the position difficulty.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to maybe Raven is disguised as a red sash, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I may come here and tell him. I think the cook poisoned the alchemist.
The cook
So
poisoned the
that way, I can bring them with me to the kitchen. Like, could I get?
Oh, you want to like bring
Oh,
them to like investigate the cook
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they've got the red sash. Red sash?
Yep.
Black sash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red sash.
That should totally be possible. You're trying to like convince people that you're taking these guests to investigate the cook.
I mean, I'm thinking.
I have an idea for an assist if you want. I could say in my loadout, I brought my disguise kit and quickly threw something together to make it look like Kestrel and myself were actually red sashes the whole time. I don't know if that's a lot for an assist.
That sounds like
maybe a setup?
flashback of its own. A
setup action?
flashback leading to a setup,
Okay.
which is totally possible. What action do you think would work for this setup?
I mean, I feel like it's sway to convince someone I'm someone I'm not.
Sway has the word disguise right in there.
So that seems like what I should do to set up Vulture for this thing.
So I think it'd be a risky standard to set up this setup.
I will push myself for a die. Make it 4. Risky standard.
So you do it, but I'm going to put specifically Goose in a desperate situation because on the way out, some part of his costume snags or falls apart and it doesn't fully but do you think this would improve a person's position or their effect?
I think this would improve Vulture's position.
There you go. So now Vulture has a setup. And Vulture, you said that your flashback.
Yeah, my flashback showed me the back door in the kitchen. I convinced the cook
You needed to go
smoke
for
a
smoke.
cigarette with me. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I know where the door is.
Duskfall is not well known for its workers' rights, but they respect a good smoko. So I believe that this will be a standard, but with Goose's setup, it's going to be a controlled position with standard effect.
Okay, what should I roll?
What do you think you should roll?
I mean, consort seems like the choice because like I was making friends with the cook.
I would allow consort with this.
Okay, you said controlled standard. Okay. I just have one die. Anyone wants to add?
So you did this in the past when we weren't there, unfortunately.
Oh, right.
Well, you
Well,
still,
Right.
we're
We
part of
still
the crew.
can. Okay.
you
I'll-
still could
I'll-
have like spent stress or something.
I'll give you another.
Oh.
I'll give you another die. So we'll just roll another d6.
Yeah, just one more d6.
So
It's the same result. I'm going to
Yep.
give this lesser harm because smoking's not good for you, man. You had to like show
Yeah,
them,
I
like
know.
you had to go through a couple packs to show them that your character really needs this. Would you like to resist it?
Yeah, I would like to try.
He doesn't
Um,
inhale. He just kind of.
What
No.
attribute do you think will suit your resistance?
they only have camels in Duskwall.
The cloves.
I'm not sure. I think it would be prowess, but I don't have any point in any ability. in prowess.
You could make an argument for resolve, I think.
I think you could make an argument for any of them. For prowess, you can still roll it, or just that you roll 2 dice and you take the worst of the 2 of them. So it's still potential to succeed, but you can't crit succeed on a 0 dice roll. For insight, my idea was like your character doesn't inhale was what I was thinking. For resolve, what were you thinking, Mark? Sorry, Andrew.
Oh, for resolve, I was thinking it was more of a like you don't really need to convince this guy. You just use your force of personality to. You
Say,
don't have
hey,
to
here's
smoke as many packs. You
Yeah.
just look. This is just me. This is who I am. I just require that 15 minutes just to get away from these people. It's not so much about the smoking.
I would buy that. And like
And he
maybe
just
your
lets
character
them all
like
burn down and doesn't smoke at all.
exactly like he lights it and just holds it between his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Which is common. It's a
Mhm.
common tactic.
I mean, I think I'll be better using insight.
All right, so your character has chosen not to inhale. Roll insight.
Yep.
You will take 2 stress.
Okay.
Not bad.
Plus the flashback.
That I think it was a 1 stress flashback.
Okay.
Had to take a lot of smoke breaks.
Yeah, I would like to take them to the kitchen.
So my character,
I mean,
I would've-
Raven should lead, actually.
would my character make it back to the kitchen before they get there? Since I was leaving the alchemy room and just going right across
Things are kind of going
simultaneously.
like it was like there's a flashback at the same time to show like that he took smokos, and
Mhm.
we can say that Shrike meets them at the same time.
Okay.
So it's the door
Wait,
like
just-
right here. Whoops.
I guess the door was.
Right here.
Yeah.
I'm putting it like there's a door in like into the area
Oh,
there,
right here.
and then putting it between the barrels.
But it doesn't really go anywhere.
So you just have one more part of your progress clock to actually get through the kitchen part without incident.
Uh,
So now Raven needs to convince the bartender or whatever why the extra people are coming through.
what's going on in here? The alchemist got sick. Somebody put poison in his food. You know they're gonna suspect you.
So you're trying to pass the blame. What action roll do you think that would be?
I am thinking that this is gonna be a sway roll.
I concur. I think it's a risky sway roll with standard effect.
Okay.
I would like to spend a stress to assist and add a die and just say, oh, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes, you know. Clearly, he asked for Poisson and you misheard him.
and I will push myself to add another die, so that's 2.
Parlez-vous français, Gustav?
So you said it's risky and standard effect.
Nice.
Nice.
You do it, and by passing the blame, you pass that buck along, saying, "You did it. You did it. You did it. You made the burrito." And then, well,
A poison fish
Gave
burrito.
it the stink bomb.
you all managed to sneak out the back door without incident.
I love it when a plane comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get to smoke a cigar for that.
Yeah, you can upgrade from cloves to a nice cigar.
And congratulations, you have completed your score. The only thing you need to do is return to the Lamplex for your reward.
Stroll on down to Bazo.
I'm thinking we probably want to at least try to stealth because those blue coats
Yeah.
are walking around. Would that be a group action?
I think we can make this a group action. What action do you think people are rolling?
Do they have to all be the same action?
Everybody is rolling the same action rating, and somebody is designated as the leader who takes the strain for it.
If we're trying to stealth, I am assuming we want somebody who's good in finesse, right?
Or prowl?
Or prowl.
I would think
You're right.
finesse or prowl. And so you guys can negotiate if people are better at prowl or better at finesse, because finesse is kind of like, I think more like people are when you're moving along, when people go away, like you're like averting eye contact better. But for prowl, you're actually avoiding total notice.
Anyone got 2 in either of them?
I have 2 in both.
I have 1 in prowl.
Who's got the lowest stress?
I've got
Yeah.
stress.
I've technically got no stress, but 1 trauma.
I have 1 trauma as well.
But I have 1 prowl.
Have
I've got-
6 stress. I think I could take the.
I have
I've-
5 left.
I've got 5 left and 2 finesse.
Yeah, I have 5 left and 2 finesse as well.
All right. I mean, I'll let you take it then.
Everybody
Go for
makes
it,
the
fearless
roll.
leader.
We take the best roll.
Yeah.
So we're
And they're
we're
the
all
leader.
rolling finesse.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then what are our position and effect?
I think this is a risky position with a standard effect.
Okay.
Oh, somebody got a 6.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I got a 1. Yeah.
Those 2 failures are going to cause 2 strain to, I believe Vulture said they were leading this.
I hate to be
Yep.
the kid in the back who asks for homework, but are there technically 3 failures?
It's not about failure, it's about 1 to 3 as the result causes 1 strain.
Yeah.
Only
'cause I
the
gotta-
best roll is taken.
Okay.
And
So I take.
sorry, I didn't see Kestrel up there. Yeah, so that's 3 stress. 3 stress.
Okay, I'm full stress. That's a trauma.
That's a trauma.
Oh wait.
Oh, I thought you said you were empty.
Only Kestrel. Only Kestrel is taking the stress.
I thought only Vulture
Oh.
was taking the stress. I thought Vulture was the leader.
I thought Vulture said he was full up. He should.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I
So
have
I would-
3 left.
I would have been the leader if I knew he only
Well,
had 3
Vulture
left.
doesn't
Oh.
have finesse or prowl, so he wouldn't have been the one to lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. In a way.
So is
I'll take
Kestrel the one? So Raven's the one taking the stress.
Yep.
Raven takes 3 stress. And you have a partial success. I'm going
Go
to
ahead.
ask somebody to roll a 1d4. A 1's harm, 2's complication, 3's reduced effect, and 4 will be I'll put you in a desperate position.
Can I? Oh, I was going to actually make a recommendation.
First come, first serve. But what's your recommendation?
Don't have it affect the scene. Have it affect the amount of heat we gain at the end of the job.
I was gonna do that like with flavor.
Oh, okay.
And so because the 3 is a reduced effect, that's gonna like give you a significant amount of heat on the way out. Wherein you all get out the door, and when you get through the hedges, the red sashes are like, where'd they go? Where'd our cooks go? Where'd our guests go? And that's gonna give you like 3 heat, leaving just the Red Sash Sword Academy. But you do make it back to the Lamp Black same night.
So 3 heat. I added that to our party sheet or our alt sheet.
Thank you.
3 heat is not too bad for a job like this.
That's just from that one complication.
Oh, that's just from the complication. Oh, okay.
And you make it back to the Lambeck warehouse. Basso takes you guys at face value. He understands that there's a small dinner going on at the Red Sash Sword Academy, but that he hasn't heard any news. He's got his ears for the Lamp Black people walking around, keeping track of things. He trusts that you took care of things. He gives you the 6 coin that you're warranted in this. It goes to your crew. The question here is, do you pay the tithe to the crows?
Yeah, we
Probably
probably
should, yeah.
don't want enemies everywhere.
You probably do not want enemies everywhere. So you're going to get 5 coin to your crew. That's more coin than your crew actually can safely protect at this point. That's kind of like a huge sack of silver coins.
So can we spend the
Okay,
excess
yeah.
before it goes away?
You
So
can
it
spend.
would go to our individual coin. Like each person can hold coin, and our crew sheet can hold coin.
Yeah, so you like distribute it between the 5 of you, and then 1
Okay.
goes to your crew. Your crew starts with 2 coin because I decided that.
So 1 more goes to the crew. I'll add that, and then we each take 1.
That would make sense.
We don't have enough to do that. We gave 1 to the lamp or to the crows.
Yep. So then it would just be each of you gets a coin.
Got 1 a coin.
Okay. How do you remove stuff?
I think you click the square before it.
Or there's a like little circle like near the beginning of some of these options.
Oh yeah, there's a 0 one. If you click on that 0, it goes away.
All of them go away. Well, I took it back out of the crew sheet.
Yeah, it makes all of them go away. I tried it on mine.
Yeah, if you want to reduce something like stress, for example, click the previous one.
Okay.
How do you get rid of the last one?
That one you click. So like for stress, if you're knocking out all your stress, you just click the stress
Click.
button.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. So it acts like the 0.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while we're still here talking to him, can we find out if he has any other jobs for us?
Yeah, for certain.
Or-
However, I'm gonna end it there. I would be super happy to run another score for all of you plus 1 person in December, where we can continue this Blaze in the Dark situation. Let's start with great job, everybody. You completed your mission.
Thank you.
Hey.
I think it would be good to go through the EXP thing for folks who haven't done it before.
Yes, that's what I
was
want to do.
Very rewarding playing it before. It's nice to do that.
This is my first time, so I kind of have to do it like playbook by playbook. I'm going to start with the cutter. Where every time you address a challenge with violence or coercion, you get an experience. You started by like clearing out the Irie with coercion. Right? Can you think of another situation where you used violence or coercion?
No, to be fair. I was thinking of bursting through the window to escape out of the place, but we had a much more subtle approach, so I went with that one.
Yeah, that was a really clean score. So you'll get 1 experience you can put anywhere.
Okay.
I'm just doing like specific playbook experience first, and then I'm going to go through like the generalized experience for everybody.
Cool. I will put 1 in. I'll put 1 in insight.
We don't have a hound. For a leech, where you addressed a challenge with a technical skill or mayhem, can you think of any instance where you did that?
Both hiding the artifact and getting out of the room with wrecking the sabotaging my way out. But I think
agree.
I already took an experience for that because it was a desperate situation.
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Because you address the challenge with that technical skill, because it says multiple times, you get 2 experience that you can just put wherever you want.
So do they need to go in prowess or can they go anywhere else?
Anywhere. Typically, I have never played this game before. My expectation is people usually put it in their special ability. They put it into their playbook so they get a new special ability.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah. Now, I do have a question about that with like technical skill, because like Tinker and Wreck are, insight and prowess. Would any of the other stuff like study, like where I convince the people to leave, that there was a better place for them, would any of that matter, or is it more technical, like as a alchemist or saboteur? Technical.
That might make the difference between 1 and 2 experience. It's really either you use technical skill once or you use technical skill more than once.
Okay.
And so if your character wasn't the one who played the artifact, you could feel like I used my technical knowledge of the Scotlanders to know, and that would have put you to the 2.
That makes sense.
For Raven, where you addressed the challenge with stealth or evasion.
I snuck into the building, and I used social evasion to convince that guy that they thought he put the poison in the thing, but I don't know if that counts.
I think I'm just going to give you the 1.
Okay.
Now for Goose, where you address the challenge with deception or influence.
I think just walking past that person that initially stopped us on the stairs and our group split up, that would be 1. And then the second one would be using the disguise to get us into the kitchen when we were originally viewed as guests.
I'll agree, which gives you 2. Then for Whisper, that would be Vulture. You address the challenge with knowledge or arcane power.
Yeah, well, I figured out there was like the blood of a Leviathan in the artifact.
Yes, I think I can think of another one. I don't know if you recall.
Yeah, when we were in the clearing our base of operations. Oh no, I don't remember the other one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but one of them was in the base. Your character didn't fully success, but you did address the challenge. The other one was where your character learned that the alchemist likes the spicy foods, and so you chose to serve him that meal directly, guaranteeing that he was going to get the diarrhea.
Yeah, right.
And so you can get 2 experience.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot, with the red sash disguise count?
That's for lurk. It says stealth or evasion. I don't think disguise is really for stealth. It's more like deception.
Okay, because I used prowl for it, but that's okay.
And then for everybody, do you feel like you expressed your character's beliefs, drives, heritage, or background? I definitely think that Shrike expressed her heritage, protecting the Scotlanders by trying to not just kick them out, but get them to a better place. I need other people to defend having an additional experience point. So Shrike, you get another experience point. Anyone else?
No, not in this game, at least for me.
I expressed my background as a failed actor by succeeding at being an actor.
I'll give it to you.
Vulture expressed his academic background when talking to the alchemist.
Actually, my background is trade. Was just kinda.
I will allow that, however,
lying to
to
him.
give Vulture an additional experience point, because each I was giving you the 1. That's going to give you the number 2.
So Raven expressed
Okay.
her underworld background by sneaking into the Sword Academy.
Easily agreed.
I think Kestrel expressed his background when he tried to appeal to the lamplighters to like, hey, we're all the working class here. Do you have any advantages for us?
100%. Yeah, get experience for that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So it's what express your heritage or background, or what was the other one, or was it just both? Both of
Your
those?
beliefs or drives.
Yeah, beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
And then there's also struggled with issues from your vice or traumas.
That's the next one. We're gonna get to that in just a second. I'll give people a moment to negotiate this. I kind of feel like Shrike did go into the academic background just for diving in and understanding like the situation going on with the red sashes, and that nobody was going to dive deep into the alchemy jug where she hid the artifact in the onion barrel.
Well, you know, all that sulfur smell from the onions.
And the last opportunity is struggling with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. A couple of you got traumas, but you didn't really struggle with it. How about your vices?
Thing I can think of, again, my vices of the theater, so maybe I was like enthralled by Goose's character work.
Yeah,
But
but
I never-
anyone would have been.
To be fair, I didn't express that though, so I don't know if that counts.
Potentially, I engaged in my vice with my friend. Pleasure? I'm not sure, but not on screen.
I don't think Raven got a whole lot of pressure. I'm going to give both of you a chance to roll a d6. If you get a 6, I'll give you an experience. At least
Yeah,
there's no
I'll take an
drawback
experience
to this
back.
one. you don't need to lose anything. And all right, so that's it for immediate advancement. You got your coin, you got your experience, and that is a score completely done. The next thing is downtime. I kind of felt like we would do downtime like across the next month, if you guys are into it.
Okay.
I would
Alrighty.
I would recommend doing heat now.
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question on the
Anything.
like what we've done so far? So with the like you're clicking the little flags. So you basically need to fill up a whole section before you get something from it?
Yeah.
Correct. Your character's crew would get no reputation at all from this. This was a very clean score, except for your exit. Your exit was a little bit messy. So you're getting, I'm going to say 3 heat just from that exit. Everything else was really clean. Honestly, you guys did a great job. Just that last little bit with the diarrhea, with people kind of like unveiling, oh, he's been poisoned. Like if you had hidden it a little bit, then you wouldn't have as much heat. But the rule is your crew doesn't get any reputation if it's a clean, silent run, because you developed some kind of signature on this. You get reputation, and you're getting the 3 heat. So it's in between contained, standard exposure, and loud. So like it's in between that kind of situation.
So
So,
for heat we already had 3, so we get 3 additional.
No, it's just that 3.
Okay.
Okay. So in terms of our reputation, did we mark 1 tick or?
I think you're gonna get 2 ticks. 1 tick for a successful run, another tick for doing it against a crew of a higher tier.
And then as for crew experience, we should probably go through that too.
Yes, that's what we're doing right now. I'm not sure if you guys advanced the agenda of your deity, except you did punish evildoers. So I think you did get 1 experience for advancing that agenda.
Are we counting getting the Eerie as advancing the agenda of our deity? I feel like that maybe counts.
Thank you for like wait for people to bring out like yes. Let's make it 2 experience right for that. Do people think you contended with challenges above your current station?
Tango with a
Yeah.
gang at least one
Yeah.
step above us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's another experience. You really only did it once. People can do anybody want to petition for another piece of experience?
Or which category?
This is still with contend with challenges above your current station. I'll take that silence as we're asking, do people feel you bolstered your crew's reputation or developed a new one?
So
Uh,
our
So
crew
we,
didn't
I,
have a reputation at all before. So
yeah,
yes.
we are supposed to start with one, because that's how we gain experience for that. It's when you first create the crew, you decide on what kind of not experience, reputation your crew like starts off with.
I was
And
taking
then-
this as the like there's a house rule in there, like where like there was the option to start with 0 crew, so you're kind of in between that. So I would give you guys 2 experience for this, because you bolster your crew's reputation by getting a stronghold, and also you're developing it by doing a job against that higher tier.
Oh, I meant having a reputation. Like, we have a reputation for being brutal, or we have a reputation for being cruel. It's how we earn EXP, where it says bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. That's how you gain EXP for that. Is if we have a reputation for being brutal and we killed a bunch of people during the job, we'd get experience because we killed a bunch of people, and that aligns with brutal.
I think we have a reputation for poisoning.
I think you've
So-
developed a new reputation of poisoners.
So for that reputation, maybe subtle or strange.
Oh, I love strange.
So that puts you at 4 experience so far. Do you believe you expect the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of your crew?
I think so. I think working at our bird signal was kind of an interesting
that's true.
Yeah, that's a
inner
good point.
drive of, how to do things secretively.
It certainly expressed our essential nature as bird people.
I absolutely agree. So one of it was like the goals of like developing the crew, doing the cult.
That would be
That's
one
one
more.
right there. And then the second one is it that you snuck that bird feather symbolism in there. So that's 6 experience right now.
Okay.
And so most of the way through your crew XP, I think you guys are also like pretty well along to your experience points as well. The last thing to do here is I just want to say, in downtime, you get 2 downtime actions. One of those actions is typically to indulge in your vice to reduce the stress your character has. However, there's a risk in that it's a fortune roll, and that if you roll higher than the current stress you have, your character overindulges and kind of is not present for the next adventure because they're just so deep in their vice. This is not a bi-weekly adventure. I would kind of adjust it a little bit if you wanted to play the same character. Otherwise, if you did overindulge, you could play one of the other minor cultists in the Eyrie. Sound good?
Fortune roll starts out with 1d6, right?
Correct.
And I have 7 stress, so I'm not in danger of.
So you're at no risk. Is anybody not at 6 or more stress?
I'm at 3 stress and 1
I'm
trauma.
at 6.
I'm at 4.
I'm at nothing.
One thing I realized after we did it, and maybe I should bring it up later, but we did do gaining trauma a little bit wrong. But
Tell me about it, because I'm happy to learn.
so when you gain enough stress to get trauma, you are out of the job. Like your character either retreats from the job or they're knocked out and like captured. So you don't take any more actions during that job, and you actually don't go down to 0 stress yet.
Oh.
You actually only go down to 0 stress after your character has kind of taken a sabbatical and indulged in their vice a little bit. So basically, you get a trauma, you're removed from the job, like you're removed from the scene, and you don't get to enter back in, unless like DM caveat, obviously. And then for the next job, I think your whole downtime is just spent indulging your vice, and you come back with your selected trauma plus and 0 stress.
That's a really good point. I had forgotten that in the excitement of this game, because you guys did such a great job. So in exchange for this information, I'd like to say I guess that was Shrike and Kestrel, you guys met your stress threshold.
Yes, yeah.
I think it would be fair to say that your 2 characters get no downtime actions, but you return at 0 stress.
Okay.
Kestrel is going to take a full week theater retreat.
You watch Wicked and the last showing of the Phantom of the Opera.
Over and
So
over again.
Lucy is going to go down the rabbit hole of some weird substances, but since she's now haunted, it might be a weird week.
You have a bad trip.
Yeah, I look forward to showing what that Leviathan blood is going to do to the red sashes before the next session, which means Raven, Vulture, and Goose have the option of indulging your vice or taking a trauma. Because if you don't indulge your vice and you have any stress at all, then you do just automatically get a trauma anyway.
Yeah, I indulge
Yeah, me too.
my obligation.
And Goose,
I will indulge.
please roll a d6, everybody.
Roll a d6, everybody.
Just there's those three.
Okay, cool.
Raven removes 3 stress, Vulture removes 2 stress.
I thought if I clicked luxury, it would automatically roll. Nope, that didn't do it.
But it did tell you some of the proprietors. And that was Raven again?
Oh, I don't know how I have Raven selected, but that's Goose.
Oh,
Goose reduces forces, which I think is the perfect number for Goose.
It was exactly what I had.
So nobody overindulges. That means that Goose, Vulture, and Raven have 1 downtime action left before the next session in December. We've got like over a whole month to decide when that will be, and otherwise, that everybody have a good time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm gonna have to log out. It was nice meeting you, pal, and everybody else. Thank you for coming to my table again.
thank you for running.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
Night all.
Bye,
Night,
everybody.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.